Disrespect rarely arrives as an attack. It arrives as a joke, a tone, a smirk, a small interruption, a little comment that makes the room laugh while something inside you goes quiet. And because it looks small, you let it pass. That is the first mistake. Because when someone disrespects you, they are not only insulting you, they are testing your position. They are checking if your boundaries are real, or if they are just decorations you wear when life is comfortable. Machiavelli understood something weak people still avoid. Respect is not protected by hope. It is protected by consequence. The world studies what you tolerate. It watches what you laugh off. It remembers what you refuse to confront. And every time you let disrespect slide without control, you teach people that your dignity can be negotiated. By the end of this video, you will learn 7 rules for handling disrespect immediately. You will learn how to detect it early, use silence as strategy, and enforce consistency. You will learn to respond without emotion, build an untouchable presence, and read disrespect as intelligence. This is not about being aggressive. This is about being impossible to treat cheaply. Before we begin, drop this affirmation in the comments. Disrespect sharpens my awareness. Number 1. Recognize disrespect before it grows. Disrespect does not usually begin loudly. It begins as a test. A small joke at your expense. A person talks over you in a meeting. Someone dismisses your idea before hearing it. A friend says something cutting, then hides behind, "I was just kidding." A family member makes you feel small, then acts like you are sensitive when you notice. This is how the pattern starts, not with open war, with permission. Most people lose here because they wait until the disrespect becomes obvious. They wait until the insult is loud enough, public enough, painful enough, and repeated enough to finally justify a response. Number 2, use strategic silence immediately. Silence can make you look weak, or it can make you dangerous. The difference is the state behind it. Weak silence happens when you freeze. You say nothing because you are scared, hurt, confused, or desperate not to create tension. People can feel that kind of silence. It carries fear. It lowers your position. Strategic silence is different. Strategic silence is chosen. It is not panic, it is control. It says, "I heard you. I saw what you tried. And now I am deciding whether you deserve access to my response." When someone disrespects you, do not rush to fill the space. Do not defend instantly. Do not explain. Do not laugh. Do not throw a messy comeback just to prove you are not weak. Pause. Look at them. Let the silence stretch. Let their words hang in the air. That pause changes the room. Psychologically, silence after a social violation creates tension. Most people expect a predictable reaction. When they get none of those, their brain begins searching for meaning. Did I go too far? Why is he not reacting? That discomfort is useful. Because now the disrespect is no longer hidden inside comedy, tone, or social noise. Your silence has pulled it into the light. Machiavelli understood the power of being unreadable. When people cannot predict your next move, they become careful. Predictability gives them confidence. Mystery creates caution. A person who always defends can be baited. A person who always laughs can be mocked. A person who always explodes can be discredited. But a person who pauses calmly becomes difficult to manage. Now comes the dangerous part. Some of you talk too much because silence makes you feel powerless. You explain when you should observe. That is not communication. That is emotional leakage. A strategist does not leak. He controls the temperature. Imagine someone says, "You really think you can pull that off?" The weak version reacts. He explains the plan. He tries to prove he deserves belief. The controlled man pauses, looks at them, then says nothing for 2 seconds longer than feels comfortable. Maybe he replies, "Interesting." Maybe he does not respond at all. The point is, the control. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That strength begins in the pause. In the pause. Weak people use silence because they are afraid. Strong people use silence because they are evaluating. Average people rush to answer disrespect. Strategic people make disrespect answer to the silence. Silence is not empty when it is controlled, it is pressure without noise. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My silence speaks volumes. Number 3. Enforce your standards with relentless consistency. A boundary you enforce once is not a standard. It is a mood. Most people destroy their own power because they are inconsistent. One day they tolerate disrespect. The next day they explode over the same behavior. This teaches people to gamble with your limits. Machiavelli understood that power does not collapse suddenly. It erodes through small concessions. He loses authority when people learn that his limits are soft. The controlled man does not need to give speeches about respect. He trains reality through repetition. If someone interrupts him, he stops and waits every time. If someone makes a cutting joke, he refuses to laugh every time. If someone keeps him waiting without respect, he changes access every time. If someone speaks to him with a dismissive tone, he addresses it every time. Not emotionally, not dramatically, consistently. Psychologically, humans learn through patterns and consequences. If disrespect sometimes works, the behavior continues. If disrespect always creates loss of access, discomfort, or social tension, the behavior changes. This is not cruelty. This is cause and effect. Here's what most people never notice. Inconsistency creates more disrespect than softness alone, because the person testing you thinks, maybe today he will let it slide. That uncertainty encourages the test. Imagine a coworker who constantly interrupts you in meetings. The first time you let it go, the second time you laugh, the third time you snap. Now you look emotional because you allowed the pattern to build before confronting it. The new standard acts earlier. Every time they interrupt, you stop speaking, look at them, and wait. When they finish, you say calmly, "I was not finished." Then continue. No anger, no apology, no performance. Do it once, they notice. Do it twice, they adjust. Do it consistently, they stop. That is how respect is enforced without shouting. Abraham Lincoln showed patience under pressure, but patience is not weakness. A man who cannot control himself becomes unstable, but a man who never enforces anything becomes irrelevant. You need both, calm and consequence, patience and limits, stillness and spine. The old identity makes exceptions because it wants approval. The new standard makes patterns because it wants respect. Weak people set boundaries when they are angry. Strong people enforce standards when they are calm. Average people react to disrespect randomly. Strategic people make disrespect consistently expensive. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My standards never bend. Number 4. Respond coldly, clearly, and without over-explaining. When silence is not enough, your response must be short, cold, clear, final, not emotional, not long, not desperate, not a courtroom speech defending your worth. The weak person thinks a strong response means saying more. He explains until the person who disrespected him becomes the judge. That is surrender disguised as communication. A powerful response does not beg, it defines. Your job is not to convince them you deserve respect. Your job is to show them what happens when respect is missing. Machiavelli understood appearance. A messy, emotional response can make you look unstable even when you are right. A calm, precise response makes the other person's disrespect stand out. Tone matters. Timing matters. If someone makes a disrespectful joke, say, "That was not funny," then stop. If someone talks down to you, say, "Do not speak to me like that," then stop. The sentence is not the weapon. The stop is. Now comes the dangerous part. Some of you are addicted to being understood. You cannot let someone have the wrong idea, so you explain until your boundary becomes weak enough for them to step over. Stop. Imagine a friend repeatedly shows up late. The old identity complains and waits. The new standard says, "I respect my time. If you are late again, I will leave." Then when it happens, he leaves. No speech, no anger. Consequence. Kobe Bryant was not respected because he explained his standards softly. He was respected because his standard was visible in repetition, work, focus, intensity, no negotiation with laziness. That is the energy, not noise, standard. Weak people respond to get validation. Strong people respond to set reality. Average people explain their boundaries. Strategic people enforce them with fewer words. The more you explain your boundary, the more you invite people to argue with it. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My response is clear. Number 5. Build a presence that makes people think twice. Respect begins before you speak. People read your posture, your eyes, your pace, your tone, your neediness, your hunger for approval, your comfort with silence, your reaction to pressure. They decide how to treat you before you ever ask to be treated well. That is why presence matters. You can have boundaries on paper and still project weakness in person. You can demand respect while acting like someone who does not respect himself. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." Appearance matters because most people will never know your inner world. A strategist controls the signals. He does not chase attention. He does not over-explain decisions. He does not laugh at himself just to keep everyone comfortable. People respect what appears valuable and limited, not what is constantly available. If you answer every message instantly, tolerate every delay, and keep giving warmth after disrespect, your presence becomes cheap. A controlled man is selective with his time, his words, his loyalty, his emotional access, his forgiveness, his second chances. This selectivity creates weight. Imagine 2 men enter the same room. The first tries to be liked by everyone. He smiles too much. The second man is calm. He listens before speaking. He does not rush his words. He does not chase attention. Who gets tested more? The first. The second man does not need to say, "Respect me." His presence already suggests a cost. Steve Jobs had many flaws, but he understood the power of presence and standards. You do not need to copy his harshness. Copy the principle. Be deliberate. Make your attention valuable. Make your yes meaningful. Make your no final. Your presence should make disrespect feel like a risk before it becomes a sentence. Drop this affirmation in the comments. My presence commands respect. Number 6. Turn disrespect into intelligence. Disrespect is not only an attack, it is information. The moment you stop taking it personally, it becomes useful. Who disrespects you when you succeed? That reveals envy. Who disrespects you only when no one powerful is watching? That reveals cowardice. Who speaks over you, but never speaks over someone they fear? That reveals hierarchy. Who mocks your boundaries? That reveals who benefited from your lack of them. A strategist does not waste disrespect by only feeling hurt. He studies it. He asks what it reveals. He adjusts access based on evidence. Machiavelli studied human behavior through action, not fantasy. Words are cheap. Patterns are expensive. How people treat you when they think there will be no consequence tells you more than any compliment. Psychologically, people reveal status beliefs through micro-behaviors, interruptions, tone, eye contact, dismissiveness, sarcasm. All show how they rank others in their mind. Pay attention, not emotionally, accurately. Here's what most people never notice. Disrespect often reveals the person's insecurity more than your weakness. A person who mocks your ambition may be threatened by his own lack of courage. That is not your problem. That is data. Imagine a friend makes subtle jokes whenever you improve your life. When you are stuck, they are supportive. When you grow, they become sarcastic. When you win, they minimize it. This person was comfortable with me below them. That is intelligence. And intelligence changes placement. You stop sharing plans. You stop seeking encouragement there. You stop expecting loyalty from someone whose behavior already gave you the answer. This is strategic adjustment. Abraham Lincoln once said, "I am a slow walker, but I never walk back." That is the spirit. Once someone reveals they cannot respect your growth, you do not need revenge. You need distance, clarity, and forward motion. Do not make enemies out of everyone who disrespects you. Make categories. Some people need correction. Some need distance. Some need no access. A powerful person assigns access based on conduct. The old identity asks, why did they treat me this way? The new standard asks, what did they just reveal? Weak people personalize every disrespectful act. Strong people read the pattern. Strategic people adjust access. Disrespect is a confession from people who thought you were too emotional to decode it. Drop this affirmation in the comments. Disrespect reveals truth. Number 7. Become untouchable through consequence and detachment. The final level is not getting better at arguing. It is needing fewer arguments. You become untouchable when people understand that disrespect costs access to you. Not because you scream, not because you perform dominance, because you are detached enough to remove yourself. This is what most people lack. They want respect, but they still need the person disrespecting them. Machiavelli understood that dependence weakens power. When someone knows your identity depends on their approval, they can control you through withdrawal. Detachment breaks the leash. Psychologically, fear of loss keeps people trapped in bad dynamics. People choose short-term comfort over long-term self-respect. They tolerate, they explain, they stay too long. Then they wonder why the disrespect continues. Now comes the dangerous part. Some of you call it loyalty because you are too afraid to call it dependency. You keep accepting disrespect because losing the connection scares you more than losing yourself. That is captivity. A controlled man makes peace with loss. He does not announce it dramatically. He changes the pattern, less access, less warmth, sometimes no contact. This is how reputation is built. Every time you enforce a consequence, you deposit into your future respect. Over months and years, people learn who you are. They learn your boundaries are not moods. That is when the power shifts. People think before they speak to you. They stop assuming access. Not everyone will like the new version of you. Good. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Do not become chaotic because someone disrespected you. Become disciplined, become clear, become unavailable to patterns that shrink you. Disrespect is never just disrespect. It is a test. You learned 7 rules. Recognize early, use silence, enforce consistency, respond clearly, build presence, turn into intelligence, become untouchable through detachment. This is not motivation. Identity replacement changes how you respond when someone actually tests you. The old identity laughed to keep the peace. The new identity notices the test. The old identity feared being disliked. The new identity fears betraying itself. Machiavelli does not teach you to become cruel. He teaches you to stop being easy to read and easy to disrespect. So the next time someone disrespects you, do not collapse. Pause, observe, choose. Let your silence speak first. Let your boundary speak next. Like this video if it exposed a pattern you needed to see. Share this with someone who still tolerates disrespect. And drop this final affirmation. I am impossible to treat cheaply. People do not respect what you complain about. They respect what you consistently protect.